I'm Shadam
Hi.
here with the extraordinary Jane Levy of Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist. Has the pun gotten old yet?
Of me being extraordinary? I was just thinking when you said it, I was like, I wonder if, well, first of all, like, what a nice thing to have in front of your name. But also, I just heard you say that, I was like, I wonder if I'll ever be called anything else.
Well,
Smelly Jane Levy. I don't know. Just kidding. I
I'm
don't
gonna
think I
keep.
smell.
I'll keep using it, and if you get sick of it, just let me know.
Okay.
So the first thing that I wanted to ask you, when we spoke previously, there had been like 2 episodes of the show that had come out. You were still kind of finding your footing. Like, I wanted to check in. How's it going now that you're into season 2? We're in a pandemic. You have like the hardest job on TV. Are you okay? Are you sleeping? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, I'm okay. I mean, I will be honest. I'm feeling pretty sad today when I woke up this morning just reading the news. I am so happy when I'm at work. I feel so lucky to have this job. I feel very lucky to be in British Columbia right now. I feel very safe here. Um, I love our show and I love acting and I love Zoey. So I get to spend most of my time these days thinking about her and her journey. And for that, I am very grateful.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of
I think
having,
I have something in my eye. Hold on.
okay,
Did I get it? Did I get it?
I
I've gotten really good at just sticking my fingers straight in my eyeball because like I don't want to mess up a take and call somebody in. So I'm sorry if that was scary with me
no,
just
you're
going
good.
right in there.
I wish I had. I would probably have those contacts if I had those skills. So I spoke to Austin about this. I want to get your perspective on it as an actress. How do you manage all of those tonal shifts? Because it's something that we saw a lot in season 1, and season 2 is even broader in scope. You're a boss, you're sexy, you're funny, you're like grieving. Like, there's so much going on. As I said, you truly have like the hardest role on television. So basically, how do you do your job, and how do you do it so well? Help me. I don't understand. Like, how do you do it?
Well, that's very nice of you to say. You know, I've been asked this question a lot because I think that the tonal shifts on our show is what makes it special. You know, we go from very realist drama to musical theater to like slipping on banana peel comedy. You know, we cover all the bases. And I think that people are surprised when they watch our show because they sort of, I think at the beginning, the promotions, we looked like just another musical TV show. And I think we're more than that, but I'm biased. Um, I don't really approach scenes differently if they're comedy or drama. I think it all has to be rooted in human need, and same with music. We are all very desirous beings, even though we might be ashamed of those desires at times. But for me, Austin will sometimes say to me, okay, this scene doesn't have to be funny, or, like I'll be playing it funnier than another scene, and he'd be like, well, maybe this one you can be more sad, or we talk about it on set. But for me, I just approach it the same way. I'm constantly thinking about Zoey and her arc and her humanity and her downfalls and her what makes her lovable. So for me, it's just good old acting, baby.
And what you said, Zoe's downfalls, and sort of, what do you see those as? That's also, I was so curious about. Like, what are some areas where you sort of disagree with her, or, you know,
I
want?
wouldn't say that I necessarily like think of it this way where I'm like, I disagree with this point of view. It's more like I'm like, oh, this is where Zoe struggles, or this is where Zoe's different than I am. She is awkward in relationships with people. When we meet her in season 1, she has one friend. Or two if you count her dad. But Max is her only friend, and she's not even aware that he's in love with her. I think most people are able to pick up on the fact that their best friend would be in love with them, not Zoe. So, that's what this gift gives her, it's like her scope widens, and she's able to hear the music metaphorically and literally, and she's able to understand people like Mo, who live their life through vibe and instinct. Zoe's somebody who's like, I code and I problem solve. And I'm not sure if I would say that's the most positive trait. I don't know. I don't want to judge it like that, but you know, Mo becomes her friend in season 2, and her world opens up more and more as she gets more not comfortable with her power, but as she lives longer with this power, she becomes more of an open person. You know, she's obviously, uh, again, I'm trying to use a non-judgmental word, but I can't. So she's messed up in love. She has a really hard time knowing what she wants. And I think, you know, deep down, what she really wants is her dad to come back, and she wants to sit on the couch and have a nice crocheted blanket that Maggie knit and watch TV shows together. That's what she really wants, you know, and she can't have that. And that's so heartbreaking. And it's so human that that's what she wants. And so as she starts to heal more and more, I think we'll start to see her be able to exist more in romantic relationships in a way that's not so sloppy or confusing.
One of the things that I asked you before, and I'm going to ask you again, because again, it just fascinates me, is like those scenes where you have to watch somebody else sing. And the reason why it comes to my mind is because there's a beautiful scene, I don't want to spoil it, with you and David in tonight's episode 4, where she's watching him sing, and the expression on your face is so beautiful, and it says so much, and you're not talking, you're just standing there. So like, talk me through those moments and sort of putting Zoey into those different headspaces, whether it be funny or emotional.
Yeah, I mean, the heart songs always teach Zoey about the person she's watching, and then in turn teaches her something about herself. I think that, you know, she is very involved. This power is coming from her. And I've a couple times tried to like explain my process with these musical numbers, then every time I just like bore myself to death. Like my eyes roll so far back in my head I can't see after the interview.
Well, so I was reading you talk about your process, and I was like, huh? That's what I was like, maybe if I ask her about it, she'll tell me about it.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I was telling this to my friend the other day, and I was like, I don't really know how to explain this because people ask me about it and I take it as a compliment. But she said something to me. She was like, do you want to know how your lollipop is made? No, just suck it.
I love that. I'll take it.
Okay.
It's interesting that you talked about Zoey's relationship with her parents, because I think, you know, season 1 was very much Zoey and her dad. I love that season 1 is more Zoey and her mama. Talk to me about like that, because again, it's so beautiful, sort of that, you know, what she's going through and being torn between wanting to be supportive but also take care of herself. I think that's a very real thing that we've all been through.
I agree with you. And I have also personally had such a lovely experience this year working with Mary and getting to know her more, because last year the core relationship on the show was Zoey and her dad. And now that her dad is gone, I think Zoey's becoming closer with her mom, and I'm becoming closer with Mary. And I adore her, and I feel so lucky that Mary Steenburgen is my TV mom. She's so funny. Every time I talk about Mary, I'm like, I'm Jane Levy talking about Mary like I know anything. But, you know, she is so funny, and she surprises me with her humor. And I also am very impressed by her curiosity and her like ever-changing creativity. She's someone who is an Oscar winner, and she's had this long career, and then she started to write music, and now she's, you know, like an amazing songwriter. And then now she's trying musical television where she sings and dances. And I think it's rare to find somebody at her age in any profession who is eager to continue to learn. And I find that to be very admirable and attractive. Yeah. And I personally really want to see Zoey and Maggie sing together. So I keep putting that out there in these interviews that maybe someone will listen. Austin.
Austin or the man upstairs. So yeah, that's something too. In season 2, you've talked before a lot about how you don't come from a musical theater background, but season 2 is pushing you even further in terms of the things that you get to do. And like, I feel like just watching, like you're becoming more comfortable in the role and you're kind of growing even further. Like, What has that been for you? Where do you want to go? What haven't you done that you want to do? Sort of like what's going on, looking forward to the future.
Yeah, it's really cool to see the show evolve and to also evolve as Zoey. You know, this is a really potent time. She just lost someone that we spent the whole season 1 anticipating. Now she's lost this person, and now it's how do we repair? How do we move forward? How do we, quote, carry on? And that's a really uncomfortable process. And I have so much compassion for people, and it makes me feel emotional right now. I think probably because I don't know, because I care, but you know, I think that that's kind of like one of the trickiest periods. Every experience is different with grief. However, I'm learning through playing Zoey how uncomfortable it is, the space after losing someone, and the self-judgment, you know, you feel. Like I see that in Zoey. She's like, I thought I was supposed to move on by now and I haven't. And I thought I was supposed to feel a certain way at this point and I feel something else. And I think that's so human. And to watch her go through this experience where she's like, I thought I was supposed to be this, but it's actually this, you know, I think we can all relate to that. And if Zoey was a real person, she's not, she's me. I would hug her because I have so much love for her that I'm not sure she has for herself yet. And so as Zoey grows up, you know, this season we have her 30th birthday party. As she heals, I'm really excited to see who she becomes. And as always, I would love to participate in the singing and dancing whenever possible. And I know Austin and the rest of the writers are always trying to come up with creative ways in which I could be a part of that.
Can you take me back, just because I have to ask, just as a fan, but like the moment like this duet, like what was going through, because that was one of the most creative, I mean, I've never seen a love scene like that on TV or in anything ever. Like what was going through your mind? How did you approach it?
Yeah, so we sort of like planted the seed from this in the finale last year with the John Legend song When We Kiss for the First Time and Pitbull, right? My brain. Where he's oscillating between two songs, and the comedy is like, I really just want to kiss or make love, and I hate the phrase make love. But instead there's this thing in the way, which is this superpower. And so Austin was talking about this before the season started, and I'd heard a lot about this idea that he had, and it was very thought out and very highly choreographed. Like every single moment in that number was choreographed. There's some numbers where there's a lot of freedom, and there's others where like even the acting beats are planned, you know. Like for me in episode 8 last year, I saw my mommy kissing Santa Claus. There was like a general route, but I felt like I had a lot of freedom in that. And so all of this to say is now I can't remember. Take Me Out to the Ball Game, Boys to Men, I'll Make Love to You, I think that's the name of the song, and Kelly Clarkson's
Yes, I think those are the three. A Moment Like
A
This.
Moment Like This. All of that was mapped out very specifically in Austin's brain, and then in conversation with him and Mandy, and then in the choreography between Mandy and Skylar and I. And, you know, we shot it for a day and a half, and it was all very technical. And it's really fun to see people's reactions to it, because what was going through my head was, you know, hit the mark so I don't mess up Skylar's performance, because again, everything is so choreographed. You know, and there's a lot of heady conversations that go on behind the scenes about zoality, like my perspective, reality, the camera, and what
Zoality, I love it.
yeah. So what was going through my head was like, don't mess up.
Speaking of not wanting to know how the lollipops are made, are we ever going to find out how Zoey came to have her power? Do you want to know? Is that...
I definitely do. I mean, I think it has to do with her dad. You know, it's she got this power right as she was learning that she was losing her father, and that is very connected, and that is to me the root of the show. When we get into the exact details of the mythology, I guess you would call it, I don't know, that's not my job. I stay in my lane. But I do think about it a lot, and I do think it's important, but I already have like an idea. I feel like I know.
Somebody asked me, it was a fan, I was like, what questions do you have for Jane? And somebody said, if Zoey had a theme song, what would it be? And
That's a good question.
Yeah.
You know, oh God, I wish I was better at these kind of answers. I wish I knew like so many songs off the top of my head. I think of Zoey in like three parts. One is the person who's trying so hard but is constantly falling on her face. And that's this part of her that I think we all love. It's very endearing. There's another part of her that is like, I mean, I guess that would be her theme song. Is there a song about someone slipping on banana peels?
I don't know. It would probably be my theme song too if there was one. So
I mean, last year for me, I think her theme song was "How Do I Live Without You." I think that was the theme of the entire series.
Yeah.
Was how am I going to do this? Like, I can't do this. And I think that what we see sometimes when Zoe's so afraid or heartbroken, she's manic. You know, she's like, I'm gonna fix it. I'm gonna eat a bunch of food. I'm gonna date you. No, I'm gonna date you. And so for me, How Do I Live Without You was maybe the heart song of last year. This year, I would say so far, it's Carry On. And then we're only halfway through shooting the second season. So maybe I'll get another theme song around now, and I'll let you know next time we talk.
Speaking of which, I'm not going to spoil it, but there's like a cliffhanger at the end of tonight's episode 4. There's a very attractive gentleman that enters the picture.
Oh yeah.
Anything you can wink tell us about our Zoey?
So yeah, there's a cute boy that's introduced at the end of episode 4, played by Felix Mallard, who I adore. He is such a lovely person, and he's been so fun to work with. And he's very handsome. And you'll see. You're going to have to wait till episode 5. However, episode 5, is this coming out this week?
Yeah.
Episode 5 next week. Zoey may or may not do a bunch of drugs.
Ooh, I feel proud of myself. I feel like I got a scoop. Thank you, Jane. Always a treat to get to talk to you. I adore you. Thank you for your time.
It was such a pleasure talking to you. It's so easy, and I appreciate your interview.